Welcome to the second episode of the Geiger counter, where we closely monitor world events and try to estimate how close you are to total atomic annihilation. So without further ado, let's dive straight into it. August 14th, the United States. Following a string of declassified documents, Congress revealed that the Saudi government were involved in the attack of September 11th. Though Al-Qaeda received funding from the government, it remains unclear to what extent, if any, they were aware of the terror organization's true nature. The revelation comes at a time where most believe the war on terror to be over. However, with fresh documents being declassified every few weeks, more and more citizens are asking when the real war on terror will begin. August 26th, Ukraine. In retaliation for the Ukrainian army's incursion into Russia, Russia launched wave upon wave of ballistic missiles into Ukraine, with an estimated worth of $1.3 billion, the largest bombardment seen since the war's start. August 31st, South China Sea. A Chinese military vessel rammed a Filipino military vessel in disputed waters when it refused to retreat. A not uncommon trend that comes at a time where China is ramping up its aggressive posturing against its democratic neighbors. In response to the heightened aggression, the United States dispatched a diplomatic envoy to meet with their Chinese counterparts, who simply warned them that the United States should sever all military and diplomatic ties with Taiwan. September 1st, Russia. A wave of Ukrainian drones blackened the skies as they dropped bombs on Russia's oil refineries and power plants, igniting fires that would burn for days and hampering Russia's ability to produce and store fuel for their offensive operations. The attack comes days after a Russian military commander and a sitting MP went on Kremlin state TV and called for President Putin to use hypersonic underwater missiles to attack the United Kingdom, which he claimed would create an atomic tsunami that would wipe out all life on the British Isles. This, he claimed, would make NATO tremble before Russia and allow them to annex Ukraine without further bloodshed. September 2nd, Iran. As Israel remains bogged down on a war on both sides against Iran's Lebanese and Palestinian allies, the Ayatollah remains content to sit back and blame Israel's NATO allies for the state of Middle Eastern conflicts, and warned them that there would be severe consequences. The warning comes at a time where the UN nuclear watchdog warned that Iran was very close to developing nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, in Turkey, a squad of U.S. Marines disembarked for some shore leave following joint naval exercises between American and Turkish forces, only to be attacked by an angry mob of anti-Western nationalists who blamed them for Israel's ongoing campaign to rescue the remaining Israeli hostages that were kidnapped on October 7th. A campaign that has caused the deaths of over 40,000 Palestinians, less than half of which were militants, according to Israel's military command. Elsewhere in Turkey, members of Israel's special forces, or Mossad, were arrested along with their cell leader, which comes at a time where Turkey is in the process of joining the BRICS alliance. If accepted, they will become the first NATO member to join what many NATO members describe as the second axis of evil, raising concerns in regards to where exactly their loyalties lie. September 3rd, Ukraine. As fires still burn across Russia days after the Ukrainian bombardment, Russian forces tested their new and improved ballistic missiles by striking the Ukrainian city of Poltava, killing dozens and injuring hundreds. The steady increase in escalation comes at a time where the Kremlin is passing legislation to make it easier for President Putin to authorize the use of atomic weapons, sparking concerns that the dictator in perpetuity would rather engulf the world in total atomic annihilation than admit defeat. September 8th, Iraq. The Iraqi government issued an ultimatum to the United States, warning them that they had 2 years to withdraw all troops from the country, or else there would be war. The ultimatum comes after the Iraqi government issued numerous demands for the U.S. to leave, with the first demand dating back to the U.S. assassination of Qasem Soleimani on January 3, 2020. However, their rhetoric has ramped up since October 7th. and they have condemned the United States for their role in providing Israel with weapons and other military supplies used in fighting the year-long offensive in Gaza. With NATO's disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021, leading to a complete Taliban takeover, and firefights with the remnant Islamic State of Iraq becoming an increasing occurrence, many Middle Eastern countries are beginning to doubt NATO's ability to end the war on terrorism and are showing increased favoritism towards the BRICS alliance. September 9th, Syria. Perceiving Ayatollah Khamenei's threat to eradicate Israel to be as limp as his dick, Israel called his bluff and risked starting a war on a third front by bombing an Iranian chemical weapons production facility in Syria. Iran denies that they had any involvement in the facility and labeled the attack as a criminal act, while Syria's President Assad warned of unforeseen consequences in the near future. The warning comes as Turkey's President Erdogan called for an emergency summit with all Muslim leaders in a bid to unite the Muslim world against Israel and their allies, while the war in Ukraine has finally reached Moscow, where a woman died from the latest Ukrainian drone strike, marking the first but almost certainly not the last casualty in the Russian capital since the war's start. The last month has shown an unprecedented rise of tensions across the globe between NATO and the BRICS alliance, with a high probability that a third world war is imminent. How long can Ukraine hold the line against Russia? When will Ali Khamenei make good on his threats to eradicate Israel? Find out next time on the Geiger counter.